So I love this question because the school setting is very variable. And what I mean by variable is that I probably worked in like 6 different schools, and the amount of support of the BCBA varies significantly. My first baseline of being exposed in the school, we actually had our own like CBL classroom, and the BCBA and the SPED teacher worked together to create the curriculum and have the flow and structure of the classroom going. Basic, and also too, when it came to teaching our learners, we're using all ABA principles. And then after that school year, the ABA company that was actually with the school districts for like 15 years, they lost their thing to another company that was like cheaper. So what happened is we lost that program. So the next phase of the school exposure that I have with ABA is that we were like in a magnet school. So the BCBA, we had our learners. There was 2 kids in the school that our company supported. And they had their own learning room, and it was integrated. So we go do our ABA, and then we bring them to class during certain times that were the best fit for them. And the BCBA was not there. The BCBA would check in like once a week, at least once a week. And then we'd let them know like what we need or things that we're having issues with. But they definitely checked in on us weekly. And then another type of support was, it was a magnet school. And in this magnet school, there was actually a couple of BCBAs that had, we went through. But for the most part, this BCBA was providing material for our learners. So we had our own little program book or whatever. And then that BCBA was transferred out. And then I had another BCBA who, mind you, it's the same student I'm working with. And I asked them, we need more materials. Like, oh, no, I don't do that. I'm a research-based BCBA, so I don't do classroom management or educational resources. That's not my thing. And then after he left, we got another BCBA, and he was like, oh, yeah, I can easily make I can make stuff for you. And then he never made things for me. It was just like, you show face, I see him in your building, but you don't really communicate or like ask about what she's doing or any problems. Like, you know what I mean? And then I worked in another setting where my company was contacted to provide support, and they to support the paras and teaching them like how to support our learner. And then eventually they just hired us as the company to support that learner. So we were working one-to-one with our learner, and we had 2 kids in that school setting. And the BCA would only come in the school and keep up and had that open communication with the multidisciplinary team and support our learners. And then I took over as a BCBA, and we only had 2 learners, so those were our only 2 focus: the learners that we had and the staff that we were supporting. And of course the teacher and the multidisciplinary team, keeping that open communication, very open, and knowing what's going on and how we can support our learner. And then we also have, if you get contracted, if a school reaches out for a contract because they're looking for like an FBA or support for a learner, usually it's like, okay, we need some help with this kid, come do some ABC data, and then usually we provide recommendations, and then usually the school will actually hire you to support that learner working one-to-one. So that's my experience. Oh, and I also consulted with a Montessori school. So the same thing, like they come and they like, hey, we need a little help. So you go in, you support that one-to-one learner. So you're only there for that one learner. You're not helping the whole classroom. You're not helping this other kid. No. You're there strictly for that one learner. But there are BCBAs who I've never been a school district BCBA, and I would never want to be honest, because I was just speaking with another BCBA today about it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's unethical how they could have one BCBA for a whole school district and serving like 120 students. Like, come on. But yeah, in the school setting, it's very variable. So you have to really determine what kind of support, or like reach out to other BCBAs that are in the school district if you were trying to be a school district BCBA. Or a lot of companies actually get contracted with school BCBAs. With schools. So you'd be surprised how many, have school cases. They call them school cases because it's like usually there's like one or like a handful of students that you support in the school. So, like I said, everything's going to be individualized to that learner. So you just kind of have like to reach out to other BCBAs or people around your area or the companies that have school cases and kind of speak more about that.